Okay, I think we're live. It takes a minute or two sometimes to catch up with us. Hi, everybody. Oh, I see all of you guys suddenly showed up chatting. Hi, Mark. Hello, Lynn and Susan. Hi, Susan. Susan's coming with us in October. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Olga. Yay, I'm so glad you could make it today, too. So, all of you know, because we were going to do this show a week ago, all about my incredible guest. And I know you're going to just absolutely fall in love with her. So, as you know, we are going to Avalon, I call it, to Glastonbury and to Avery, and back to these ancient lands to connect to all of these beautiful energies. And one of the favorite things that I discovered for us to do is to start with Maria. Hi, Maria. And learn dowsing. So it's a form of divination. Everybody's familiar with people who found water, and yet it's got vast other not just applications, but I find that the channeling of that energy. I'm a pendulum girl, so I'm excited. I just got my dowsing rods and I've been playing with them. And it's a chance for you to open those intuitive gateways, those intuitive pathways a little higher, and to keep hearing your truth, seeking your truth. So we're going to spend a first day with Maria around Glastonbury and some of the sacred sites, understanding the energies, understanding and learning how to sense those energies. So we're going to go into all that beautiful stuff. So first, I want to just share with you so you know how to find Maria, and I can share a little bit about her. She's quite an accomplished and amazing woman. And I love, love, love connecting with women who are really living their path. They're stepping in, they're combining their truth, their spirituality, their sacred work with their, with what they're putting in the world, and all of it coming together to really discover new pathways for us. So this is cutting edge stuff. Okay. So if you're interested in the retreat, of course, you can talk to me. So be sure that you go ahead and check that out, or send us an email if you want to chat about logistics or anything. We have a lot of the logistics on a sheet already for you, and it includes accommodations. So you just have to bring your beautiful self there, and we're going to dive into our mystical soul quest. So today we're going to talk about dowsing, earth energies, currents, ley lines, what's the difference, and all about our beautiful day. So I want to share a little bit about Maria. She's well-known, respected second generation master dowser who specializes in dowsing for the geodetic system of earth energies, ley lines, and lost civilizations. So she's expanded upon the original geodetic system, which she inherited, and noted that certain feminine earth energies emit healing hertz frequencies. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with solfeggio frequencies, with hertz frequencies. There's a lot of that out there now, a lot of vibrational medicine. People understand that chanting, toning, these different things can help you shift, reconnect, and actually leave certain states that you don't have to have that reality anymore. She's made her own dynamic discoveries and was taught dowsing by her late father, Chinese geomance, and a European master dowser. Currently, she's teaching her daughter, Raven, to be a third generation master dowser. I love it, Raven. What a beautiful name. So in 2015, she discovered the long lost, elongated headed people of Stonehenge and across the British Isles in Europe. And so if you're familiar, you probably know that there's, Akhenaten or places around the world where they found skulls of people who had elongated skulls. Even here with the Maya, they wanted to look like the sacred serpent. They revered that long, flat forehead. And so they did some binding. But this is a very, very powerful we may have to do a whole show on this. This is so amazing. So the lost shaman and shield maidens of prehistoric Britain and how to enhance seed germination with earth energies, as well as breathtaking astronomical and celestial alignments at sacred sites, and the musical harmonics of geodetic energies, just to name a few. And I know that there's a color aspect also to some of the frequencies that are in these places. So she's a druid, and her heart lies with her Celtic past and heritage. She's also has an affinity with ancient Egypt, where she discovered an incredible ley system in divine feminine earth energies at Abydos and Hathor's temple, respectively. So Abydos is where there is the carved flower of life in the wall, if any of you are wondering which one of those. She dowsed in 17 different countries, coined the phrase yin water to describe Gaia's deep waters that emit powerful surface patterns and energy-lined flows. She's recently discovered the multiple geospiral energy pattern, a yin earth energy system, and how the planets enhance their energies. And she's an international speaker. She runs tours to ancient sites, Egypt, Malta, ancient America. Yeah, Chaco Canyon. That's very cool. She does one-to-one tours, and she has such a profound understanding of Gaia's energies. This is what's making her a world leader with 35 years of experience, and all the way from the Neolithic, like the really ancient stuff, which is my favorite, Bronze Age, Iron Age, and all of these different places, Oxford, Bath, and with expert archaeologists. She's been on lots of radio shows and podcasts, BBC, Channel 4, History Channel, Gaia TV. If you have Gaia, you can go put in Maria's name and you'll find many different shows that she's in. And she's a qualified past life regression therapist. You guys are really getting this, right? Oh my gosh. Yes, I can see why you really resonate. Tarot card reader, past life astrological readings, and she was Dolores Canyons. Anybody familiar with Dolores? Sacred Site Guide for many years. She has esotericcollege.com and also Maria Wheatley. And we'll give you both of those. If they're not down below, make sure to check back. Or if you're subscribed, you will get an email with all of her links as well. Her college is an affiliated association distance, so you get certain credits, I think. And you can check that out. I think that's, fascinated show. This is just about what we're going to do now. So here we are. Welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So that was a mouthful. And let's start with a little bit about where you would like to share how this incredible moment on Earth, where we're all shifting and changing and waking up to energies faster and faster, and how your path here, and your purpose here are coming together right now. That would be wonderful to share with us, to meet you in this point.
Yeah, well, for many decades now, I've had the privilege and the pleasure to interact with Gaia's energies and be taught many, many different types. I mean, it's common to know and phrase the term ley line, although little is known about that. For example, we can move on from that and incorporate lots of different types of energies. But for me, dowsing isn't about me. It's about interacting with Gaia's energies and learning about them. So to me, that's paramount. It's about reconnecting with Gaia through her energies, not just anywhere on the planet, but through her heart, through how she manifests these energy patterns, so that we can become one again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So the real beauty is that we have, it's 10:10 here. Is that we have a natural connection to this with our bodies, having energy grids right in our body, being made from Gaia, and everybody wanting to heal the earth, come back into connection. So this idea of having this awakened connection in a whole new way, instead of sort of beating people over the head of like, don't pollute and do this differently, is sort of fall back in love with that connection and these conversations that you can have. So share with us a little bit about growing up with this energy. work?
Well, it was wonderful because I got to visit numerous ancient sites worldwide as a child, and learned to dowse and divine and communicate with Gaia on many different levels. I learned all about her different energy patterns that she manifests. It's like her metaphysical body, if you will. So these energy patterns that she manifests have been actually known and worked with for many, many generations now. So that's the main thing. It was really about connecting with the energies and learning so much really about the planet upon which we live and how to live in harmony with Gaia, because Gaia can emit toxic energies, she can emit healing energies, she can emit clearing energies, and it's knowing where to live in harmony with her, so we can decode our houses just as much as like we can understand a stone circle, to really benefit from the healing energies and to avoid the more toxic energies that Gaia naturally emits.
Yeah, I noticed some of your work has been around finding places where, and I'm being naughty. I'm bringing a stone circle idea in, but we're going to talk about the stone circles on the next show. Okay. However, there was a place, I forget what it was called, looked like white stone areas. It was almost like a collection area for certain emanations from Earth that we would normally consider toxic, maybe radiation that would get stronger at certain times of the year. And then the ancients knew how to sort of store it to use it. So the idea that it's just energies, but, radiation or other kinds of fumes, I don't know what you would call it, different toxins that can come up. So amazing. Tell us one of the most amazing stories.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, for me, it is about listening to the landscape and seeing what comes through. That's how I discovered the elongated skulled people, for example. I've heard the sounds emitted from standing stones at Avery. I witnessed that with a group of children that I was taking out. So I've literally heard sound coming out of stones. When I take people to places like Stonehenge, I can put them in the place of where they can feel the heat of standing stones as well, and like at Stanton Drew. So I can make an experience with my understanding and knowledge of sites, literally, so you feel things very, very strongly.
And what happens for people usually with these energies? Why is it good to understand them and go be with them in a sacred way or intentional way?
I think our ancient ancestors were far, far cleverer than what we are. They had a lot of knowledge. They were master astronomers, master mathematicians, master geomancers. And they always tended to, at their very holy, sacred sites, make an area, and they often placed a stone above it or a different feature. Could be a megalithic feature, and that's the clearing zone. So before you go into a stone circle or a site such as, Luxor, for example, or Hathor's temple, there's a place where you can literally clear your auric field, because you don't take then your emotional baggage inside of the stone circle or the temple space. So that's very, very important. And I think that was very, very clever. It literally makes you more receptive to the energies. And that was taught to me by a master Italian dowser many, many years ago. So I combined European knowledge with Eastern knowledge. So that's the first thing, just thinking about how you interact with the stone circle. And also, does that stone circle want to interact with you? So when I take people to places, I ask them to ask the spirit of place, the ancestors, and the guardian, because we all think that ancient sites need healing, but it's often us that needs the healing. Gaia can self-regulate all of the time. So it's about sort of our interaction with those energies and how we can benefit. So you can get clearing stones, you can get healing areas, you can get areas that literally give you energy, energize you. So you can get calming ones, intuitive ones. I mean, the list does go on, really. And these places like Glastonbury and Avery, you can interact with particular energies. That's why you have different sites worldwide. They tend to focus on different activities to do within that temple space.
Yeah. Now, I had read that that a lot of the Christian churches that the Templars or other people were involved with, which is a part of Glastonbury, of course, is they also understood at least some of that idea, and they aligned it, and they always had some kind of a vortex or energy near the door or maybe in the door. Do you find that too in most of the cathedrals and other things?
What I do find is they change the design canon, meaning the design of a site. So the Neolithic and the Bronze Age peoples of about 5,500 years ago to 4,500 years ago, respectively, they created the circle. The Christians would use the previous ancient sites, but they wouldn't use the circular earth energies. They would look for almost like a cross in the landscape, maybe where two earth currents crossed or two particular types of other energies cross. So literally it forms a cross in the land like that. That was their sacred symbol. So it's very, very different to the more Neolithic sites, but often they were placed upon a previous pagan site, that's for sure. So that's what they were looking for in the land. They changed the design canon. It was the Templars and then the Masons in the early 12th and 13th and 14th centuries. And that was their designs.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because of all the different ages that understood the earth energies. So, well, let's talk about Glastonbury. So, Glastonbury is such an amazing place. It's so, of course, people just come from all over now for so many different reasons. And my initial interest is in the goddess, in the mists of Avalon and the fae, and some of the, and then of course the ancient landscape around it with the other energies. And yet you do have this Christian overlay that's still very present with the Abbey and the Tor and some of these structures. And then, but it seems like there's so many layers. There's the Holy Grail, and then there's the King Arthur and the Morgan, and then they blend together. And then with these Michael, Mary, and all these lines and everything. So it definitely is a vortex of some kind that really seems to draw even now people, regardless of what they think they're coming for, into this crossroads. So being a huge ancient site person, I was always upset when I would go to, Mayan temple and they had built a church on top of it, or, whatever. And then over time, I started saying, well, everyone does that. There's pyramids here that have pyramids inside of them, and sometimes up to 3 pyramids inside of them that were built over. And so clearly everyone understood that there's something going on to want to not just take over the culture, right, but the earth energy aspect of it. So take us to Glastonbury and give us some magical insights.
Well, I think the first insight to Glastonbury Abbey, we have to thank the archaeologist Frederick Blythe Bond, who was, with his medium friend, was channeling some monks they'd lived there previously to find all the excavations, and he was spot on every time because he was being guided. What he felt that he discovered there, and what you can't see today, but when I'm with your group I'll take you there, is the first church of Christendom. The first church of Christendom wasn't the shape of the cross that it is today in terms of earth energy. They looked for a circular earth energy pattern and placed a circular wattle and daub church on that. A wattle and daub church means it's made predominantly of wood that has kind of got plaster on it. So if you imagine a big circular church that legend says was built by Joseph of Arimathea for Mother Mary, dedicated to Mother Mary. So that's the goddess part within Glastonbury. But when we start to look at the dimensions that Blythe Bond ascertained, the circular church is 79.20 feet across, well, 79 feet 20 inches. The blue stone circle within Stonehenge is the identical diameter, which if you turn feet into miles and multiply by 100, you have the diameter of Mother Earth. So encoded into Glastonbury is not just earth energies, but Gaia's, literally her wondrous diameter. So I think it's encoded with things at Glastonbury, very much so. That's the most powerful place at Glastonbury Abbey is where the first church of Christendom was placed.
I love that idea of this circular divine goddess mother energy being right in the center of all that masculine church energy. So, oh my goodness. Well, I heard about something called the Black Spring in the Ladies' Chapel.
I haven't been to the Black Spring there. I've been to the White Spring and the Red Spring. They're the ones that I'm familiar with. The Black sounds a bit strange, but I'm open to that. What I do know about Glastonbury Abbey is when the Templars changed that design canon to what they considered was the sacred cross, you have that lays the foundation of Glastonbury Abbey. What do I mean by that? It's often a sacred site. It's not what you can see, it's what you can't see. And flowing down the axis line, that's east to west, of the whole abbey is the Mary current. She's an earth current. Mistaken people call them lines. The Mary and Michael are not lines, they are earth currents. They entwine a ley line called St. Michael. So it does get a bit confusing. You've got a St. Michael line, that's a ley line, and that runs from Carnaby in Cornwall right to Hopton on the Norfolk coast. That was discovered by John Micheal in the 1960s. Entwining that, like the caduceus symbol, like a strand of DNA, you have the Mary and Michael currents. Now, the Mary current flows down the axis line of Glastonbury Abbey, so it's predominantly a feminine place, and then it's crossed at the high altar, creating that geocross, as I call it, in the landscape, that cross of earth currents that made the place of holiest of holies to the Christians. So Michael the current crosses at the high altar, and that's a kind of area that has balance, and it can bring the masculine in with the feminine because it's called like a nodal point, if you will. Don't worry about Dowsing terms. It's about the energy of place and the power of place. And so the high altar is somewhere very, very special. But the whole thing about Glastonbury Abbey, which was my late father discovered this decades ago, was that you will not have a kind of successful experience at the high altar unless you open up all your chakra points. Now, along the Mary current and some other types of earth energies, they have these pulse points. That means energy coming out of the ground, quite high energy and quite high frequency coming out of the ground. And along that Mary current towards the high altar, she pulses 7 times. So we can balance our chakra system if we know where to stop and where to just have that breather. But here's the thing. In modern day Christianity, a lot of people in Europe and across the British Isles, when they are christened as a child, the vicar or the father will put a cross of water from the font along the third eye. That activates the third eye, but all of the other chakras lie dormant. So in times gone by, you'd activate all of the chakras because churches and cathedrals never used to have pews. That was a very late addition. You would walk around in a processional manner, passing these high energy points. So when we go to Glastonbury, we're going to experience the chakra line system and open our chakras and have a wonderful experience at the high altar. And then you will really get the benefits of what Glastonbury wants to teach you or download or interact or simply love and bless. You know, there's many different expressions that we could say about Glastonbury Abbey. So I think that's going to be a really beautiful focus for us to do together in a supportive and loving environment, and just watch ourselves grow and expand our auras until we reach that high altar place. And what I always do with people is I measure their auras before and after earth energy interaction, and I think we're all going to be surprised by what was actually going to happen.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, amazing, amazing. And it's funny because then, I've gotten over this now, but I used to be kind of like, oh, if it was, religious in any way, I just sort of went, I want to see the ancient stuff, and that. Yet this is the magic that I love, going to these places and discovering all these different things that are still there, that can be so powerfully felt. So we're going to start the day meeting you here in the Abbey. So this is what we're going to do in the morning, and you're going to have dowsing rods for people to practice with if you want to. I recommend you get some or buy some from Maria. They're so much fun. I'm having so much fun with mine. So now, when we finish this amazing experience and we have our high altar initiation or healing experience, what's the next thing we're going to go to?
Well, after that, we will kind of look at Glastonbury Abbey through some unusual eyes, because it was claimed again by Frederick Blythe Bond that there was a Christian pyramid and obelisk there. So we'll look at the male and the female aspect of that type of design as well. And then Glastonbury wouldn't be Glastonbury if you're not going to go up to the Tor, for example. And the Tor rises because it used to be very flooded, Glastonbury, and it had surrounded by a lot of water, making it into a port in a way. And it wasn't until the 18th century that the Dutch, the people from the Netherlands, started to reclaim the land back, because they were very good at that in their own country. So they came over and reclaimed all of the land back. And so today we can just make out the 7 Isles of Avalon as we walk up the Tor. And when we think about the Tor, it's part of a huge landscape zodiac. And this landscape zodiac is about 22 miles across. And Glastonbury Tor itself represents the sign of Aquarius, and we're on that cusp of that new age now. And it represents the energies of the phoenix as well. So we can transmute, we can transform, we can be alchemic at the top of the Tor as well. And the Mary and Micheal earth currents, they perform a beautiful ballet at the Glastonbury Tor, where Mary kind of makes a cup shape like that, and Micheal gently comes in, and Hamish Miller described that as a sacred union for conception. So we can birth in new beginnings as well at Glastonbury Tor. Plus, you've got the St. Micheal ley line there. That goes through the tower, so we can interact with the ley line there. We can interact with the currents that entwine it, because you have all 3 aspects there as well. And we'll be going into these amazing high energy places and thinking about maybe our own type of phoenix energy. What do we want to birth there? What do we want to make alchemic? So it's quite exciting, the Tor. It has many, many different guises, if you will. And that's just a few of them. And then we'll look back as we climb up, and I'll show you Pisces, which is a land effigy that used to look like a fish. It's a bit covered with trees these days. And as we climb up, we'll be looking around for different signs of the zodiac as well.
So is that a reflection of the skies in the land?
It's a landscape. If you imagine it as it's in the landscape as a particular energy pattern, it was like there's a sheep for Aries. It's kind of Templar symbol in a way. It's a sheep with a lamb turning one way. holding a flag. And so that was discovered in the 1930s by Catherine Maltwood originally. And then another lady came along, a lovely lady who I met called Mary Micheal, and she added a lot more to the Glastonbury zodiac. So look, this is feminine women back in the 1930s, right the way up to the present day, interacting and discovering things about Glastonbury Tor that had gone unnoticed by other people. So for me, it's a real honor to step in these footsteps of these amazing pioneers that looked into landscape zodiac. So they're there in the land, but you're right, they mirror the above as well. So for example, you have the stars, and this will make you smile. You have the stars of Taurus in the land, and it looks like a bull's head with hedgerows and, you know, the landscape, field systems. And today, well, it used to be about 10 years ago when Mary Micheal was writing about this, it was today an archery center, and bang on Aldebaran, which is the bright red star, the eye of the bull in the sign of Taurus, is where they practice archery to get the bull's eye. But the symbolism hasn't changed. And another quirky thing, this zodiac is guarded by a huge dog. Dogs have always been guardians, from Anubis to Cerberus, and many different cultures besides. And this big dog has a village on its tail called Wag. I mean, you can't make it up, can you? It's actual.
It's fantastic.
I know. It's quirky, it's wild, but that's Glastonbury. It weaves magic into the modern day from the ancient past, and we as weavers of magic as well can be very, very transformative. Glastonbury will give you that ingredient that you can add into your own magical cauldron of your own intent to put that extra little bit of pizzazz and energy into it, so you can become what you really want in your heart space.
Oh, I love it. It's just so amazing. So amazing. So what about the wells, as far as like the energies at the spring, the White Spring, or the Chalice Well? What kind of energies are those?
Well, you have the beautiful, I think Mary is for me, Mary's a little bit stronger in the Chalice Well. But when we go in there, we're going to go in a very special way. We're going to walk in between the guardian trees. They're two female yew trees. And in the ancient Druid ways, that represented mystery, magic, the esoteric, the metaphysical. She's ancient. Yew trees can grow up to thousands and thousands of years old. Just near me, you have a very ancient one that's 2,700 years old. These are wisdom keepers beyond. And so we're going to walk through the yew trees, asking for permission. And then we're going to, and that's amazing crone energy, amazing ancient woman, wisdom keepers, these amazing trees. And we'll be able to touch the smooth bark and, you know, feel the energies of the tree. And then we're going to walk up to what's called the points like a lion feature, where the waters flow from, and we'll be able to bathe in certain areas of Chalice Well, and we'll make our way through a sacred pilgrimage to the head of the well, where I'm going to show you a very, very unusual energy line that is particularly healing, that was discovered by a German master dowser. So we're going to realize that the wellhead imbues this healing type of energy emitted from one particular energy line. So again, we'll be experiencing different energies in different places within the wonders of the Chalice Well peaceful gardens. It's so peaceful there, as many people will know and recognize. So it will be a lovely experience. And even though people say, when was the first time you went? And it was, you know, about 30 or something years ago, I still have that wonderful energy where I feel alive when I go back to Chalice Well. So I never tire of Chalice Well, or these wonderful locations within our magical Celtic landscape.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. Well, I'm just so grateful, excuse me, that there's still places that we can access as that becomes a little more difficult. And this is the beauty about understanding what's really going on behind the tourist story, behind the old tired out story from somebody in the past, and that people keep spitting out again, and to go in a sacred way rather than, and it's fun to just go as a tourist sometimes, but I have to go and understand that deeper energy. And then if you feel it, which I'm sure most of the people here, you're feeling these energies anyway, it's going to be so incredible to be there with you because of the history you have and the wisdom you have, and the knowledge of this. So I'm just vibrating crazy. So what else? What else are we going to see or feel in Glastonbury?
Well, just outside, just on the opposite side of the road of the Abbey, there is a lovely, there were little kind of houses made for the poor people, and the monks selected a beautiful area that has a very diverse form of healing earth energy there. It is really absolutely beautiful. The houses are replicas of what they were hundreds and hundreds of years ago for the poor people that the monks would want to look after. It was a healing area for them, a bit like a hospital to some regard, and the healing earth energies that come out of the ground are really going to be so calming. It's got a little chapel that you can light candles in and have that peaceful moment as well. It's a little gem. It's tucked around a corner, and we will certainly interact with the energies there, but also with living history. It's social history there. I mean, in my hometown, I don't have these very small, compact rooms that were created for the poor, which goes to show that the monks of Glastonbury, living amid these balanced energies of the Mary Micheal current and the healing energies, felt for those that were worse off. And they gave their love, they gave their understanding, and they built these places. So I think, Glastonbury has that blessing of helping those that can't help themselves. And I think we need to thank the monks of the past for being so considerate and beautiful.
I love that. Well, it's interesting because regardless of the dress, the story, the name of the religion or the sacred thing, that is one nice thing about monks or people who got to be separate from crazy society and live in more of a sacred way. Even if their structure was different, they felt the land. And I love how you said they chose this area that had diverse energies, that it was almost like when you go to hot springs, and it's like this one has, this mineral in it, and you go to this one for that mineral, and it feels like just moving them around.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like it within the ground as well. And I think what's fun about the Abbey, if we may return there for one moment, what I think is really fun about the Abbey, again, this is living history. You're not going to see this that often. Is it has an intact medieval kitchen. And it was the one thing that survived because the Abbey was destroyed by kings that wanted money and things like that. So the Abbey went into a state of disrepair, but the medieval kitchen stood the test of time. And the acoustics in there are really very beautiful. And you can see how people in the medieval and the late medieval period actually cooked, the things they were serving, the types of bread. They have reenactments there of what the people wore, and tell you how they used to live. So I think that gives us a window into a historic time going back to the 12th and 13th centuries. We are blessed to have that still surviving. It is a rare gem in the south of England.
Yeah. Well, and for anything to survive is quite amazing because of all kinds of different reasons, different cultures, and everything like that. So as you guys can see, this is why this is just a no-brainer. I know we've made this day with Maria an option because of her wisdom and her knowledge, her ability to connect this knowledge and this legacy with the Gaia energies, with the sacred path, with the healing. And we could go and run around and say, oh, it feels really good right here. Now we have someone who knows all of that. So give us a few minutes of a dowsing, not really like a lesson, but sort of what are the benefits to people to have this skill?
Really, for me, the dowsing can be used very diversely. I mean, I used to do water divining years ago. I don't do that now. I focus just on Gaia's energies. For me, if I go into somebody's house or I interpret a land, just by knowing a few good dowsing energies, you can start to say, okay, Avery has all of these amazing energies. Glastonbury Abbey has these energies. I'm probably not going to find massive earth currents in my home, but I am going to find smaller earth currents, probably around about 2 to 4 feet wide, because they interlace the planet. So what I would say to people that come dowsing with me at ancient sites, I can show you how to find these in your own home. I can show you how to start to think about your home a little bit differently. For example, if you've got a male current flowing through your backyard or garden, as we say here, or in your house, then that can be used for a particular way. Do you see what I mean? And if there's a female earth current, she's going to enhance your intuition. She's going to be quite calming. That'd be a good place to meditate, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you some really amazing earth energies, Glastonbury and Avery alike, so that you can take this wisdom home and apply it to your life, because that's about living in harmony with Gaia. Yeah. So you can live in harmony and think, wow, I've got this in my home. I can utilize this energy. So throughout the 2 days that I'm with you, we're going to be holding dowsing rods, and we're going to be very supportive. I'm going to put you in the right place, show you how to do things correctly, and show you the pitfalls as well. Because once we know the pitfalls, we can be more of like a master dowser. And I know most pitfalls and everything like that. So for me, it's about, yes, the ancients did this, but how can I apply that to my daily life? How can I help other people as well? And I'll show you some really good tips about, if you have disruptive children, if you have a baby that can't go to sleep, all of these are normally down to particular high energies or what we call geopathic stress, meaning adverse earth energies. You can transform people's lives just by holding a dowsing rod. You can interpret the land just by holding a dowsing rod, for example. So I think we're going to look at these energies, but apply it to our modern day living and how we can benefit from these amazing and incredible earth energies.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it too. And I know that you talk about, how you can look at where to build schools over certain energies, like as a bigger picture for society. You could build healing centers, hospitals, whatever, right, over certain currents to help. However, since we have a lot of places like London that don't have a lot of extra room to move something like that, then some of what you talk about is like you just said, is that you could say, okay, well, here we have this energy. It's not necessarily good. However, we can do some things to help, now that we know it's here, to help neutralize it or shift it.
Oh, absolutely. You can work with Gaia on many different levels, and you're right, that can be ascertained, and it can be ascertained quite easily. But you do even in a busy, hectic place, whether it's New York, Chicago, or London, you can find the beneficial areas. In most constructs, there will be a beneficial area, and there would be adverse. You always get the yin, you always get the yang, you always get day, and you always get night. And then once we kind of know the beneficial ones, and let's say that's a female form of energy, then we can start to say, okay, we can work with that at particular times of the month, and work with the energies when they're particularly strong, and so on and so forth. So we can bring in the kind of wider solar system with earth energies and see what equates, see when they become active, when they become calm, as well. So all of that, we can again put that knowledge into our wisdom and our own wisdom cauldron, and then when we feel like it, we can pick it out again. So I think, yeah, you could even have a massive building in London. I decoded a house last year, actually, in Chelsea, London, and found the really positive areas for that family. And they started interacting with those areas and found great benefit from that. So most places have somewhere beneficial.
Yeah, I know. I remember hearing a talk you did where you said that if you decode someone's house and they might tell you, well, I always end up sleeping on this corner of the bed, and you find out that's because that's where the good energies are. They're already naturally kind of leaning there.
Oh yeah, I think that especially when we're asleep and we're in a higher meditative state, as you know very well now, you can just sort of naturally tune in more. So yes, I think, especially children, animals, dogs, for example, really love positive energies where they sit naturally, not to be fussed. You have to apply a bit of common sense. Cats, on the other hand, love geopathic stress. They love toxic earth energies. So wherever a cat goes naturally, not to be fussed, where you can say, whoa, that is what they call a ray seeker. It means they're seeking out geopathic stress. Certain trees love those more adverse, challenging energies, like the cherry tree, the nectarine tree, whereas you get some trees that avoid that, like the beech tree, the lime tree. So even where you look to nature, you can start to decode the land through the trees and what certain animals do, like horses and cattle. I always call it like having a geomancer's eye. You're looking through the land and seeing what's going on long before you lift a dowsing rod. You could half interpret the land.
Yes, definitely. I like to do that when we go to the sacred sites here, the pyramids and the different temples and things. Some of them are huge sites in the jungle. And I'm as interested in the trees as I am in the structures. And we always find, like with a grandma tree or some tree. Often it's a tree of life to a specific tree to the Maya. However, so we may hug or we may do some things. But what I started finding initially were these, I call them vortexes. Now, maybe I'm incorrect, but you're going along and there's all the different trees and the trees growing on the trees and everything's growing in a certain way. And all of a sudden, here's one doing this.
They're twisted. Whenever you get a vortex, you get the tree will grow quite twisted, like it's Sedona and places like that. Yeah, you're right. And isn't it great to have a look around and find these things and point them out and interact with these things as well? I mean, it's the living landscape and interacting with living energies and living beings, whether they're the trees or structures. They all have their spirit of place.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to bring Maria here and go to these Mayan sites. And Lisa says, wow, that's really helpful about cats, dogs, trees, cattle, and horses. Fascinating, their natural inclinations and rhythms. Yes, and I'm a huge cat lady. Didn't have cats for a long time. Had 6 cats, and then but now we have 2. Of course, a cat mama found us with her babies, and it's funny what you said that naturally where they go, because I'm a huge cat medicine person, and they're to me almost like one of the best healers in a body, because they embody the quality of detachment. They get in their body, they enjoy it, pet me, feed me. Oh, this is so great. And then bam, they're out of there. They're so astral. They can leave and come back, and, they don't, it's like, that's enough, and I want more. And they're not afraid to ask for what they want. And it's what makes them such powerful healers. And they take on usually a lot of the stuff of the people, and they just, transmute it and throw it out and say whatever. So I'm going to really be watching my cats now and interest, like, I need a little stress over there. It also reminds me a little bit of human design. If anyone is familiar, that if you deep into human design, it are things like some people need to eat in stressful circumstances, and some people are better eating in calm, and like these really strange, deeper energies that we embody that I never would have thought anybody would be better, eating in a stressful energy. But there you go. That's why we have them all. So, okay, well, this is so exciting. So give us a little taste about what we're going to talk about next week with Avery. And we are going this year starting this rare lunar alignment. I know I read an article in the English Heritage that they're going to start having some Stonehenge presentations about this rare lunar alignment that's going to happen for a year or so. And so we're going to be staying in Avebury. We're going to be able to go out at night and play in the circle and do some cloud magic and ask it to clear. And we're going to be going this is like the biggest stone circle with other stone circles and so many more things that you have familiarity with. And then with Maria, we're going to go to some very special places. So tell us a little bit about West Kennet and Silbury and just kind of the overall juiciness of what they'll get details on next week.
Well, I think what English Heritage left off from their website was they didn't honour the person that discovered those. That was Gerald Hawkins in 1964. And I discovered the lunar alignments at Avery, so I know exactly which stones are going to be active at Avery. Now, Avery is a part of a wider environment, just like Stonehenge. These things don't come by themselves. They have a huge ceremonial landscape. That was a ritual landscape to our ancient Neolithic and Bronze Age ancestors. So, for example, at West Kennet predates the Avery stone circles by 1,000 years. We'll be stepping into one of the most ancient sites within that ceremonial landscape. And what I discovered about West Kennet and other long barrows alike is that there was long-skulled people found inside of them. There's a healing vortex in West Kennet Long Barrow, for example, and then Silbury Hill is also a part of that ceremonial landscape as well. And it plays a major role because what I've added to a ley line system, because remember our line with our two earth currents entwining it, Mary Micheal currents on the St. Michael ley line. Well, there's a really stronger one going through Silbury Hill, and it makes Silbury Hill represent earth. And then all of the ancient sites on that line, for example, Avery and a stone circle north of Avery that sadly really didn't survive too much apart from one standing stone, and going south, each one of those sites represents a planet above. So you have Avery representing the sun and the moon, Silbury representing earth, and I'll show you all of the other sites. And what is remarkable about what the ancients were doing in the landscape there, this is why I said at the very beginning, they were master astronomers, because they were using the mean distance from Silbury Hill to an ancient site that equates mathematically to what was above and how the planets were laid out. So that's astonishing that they did it to a smaller scale. You're not doing it to the scale of the solar system, but that it's mathematically correct. And I was able to discover, once I realized how they analyzed where the planets were, where Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were, because the old map only went up to Saturn. So we're going to see how Silbury Hill represents Mother Earth, how it anchors in a whole planetarium of energies, and look to other energies that are there as well. It's very heartwarming to be around one of the most feminine ancient sites in the landscape, and that is Silbury Hill. Most people across time have seen her represented as the Earth Mother. So she has this divine kind of feminine energy in her auric energy field. And I discovered a lot of things about Silbury that I will share with you in the next presentation or later. But you will feel it. As we approach the auric energy field of Silbury Hill and you approach, you really do feel it. So we're going to take a moment to be on the edge of that auric field, just for a moment, breathe in, and then walk closer to the actual monument.
And did you say that it used to be a 7-step pyramid?
Yes, I mean, it was constructed as part to be like a ziggurat, like Saqqara or somewhere
Mhm.
that has that step pyramid, but it was deliberately designed like that, but then it was smoothed off over all. So it became like a white mound, a beautiful white mound. You're in a chalk environment. So all of the banks, which we call a henge, it's a bank in effect. It's like a big wall, if you will. Avery was surrounded by a big wall of chalk, white, and so was Stonehenge. Originally, you would have seen Stonehenge as you approached, should have been behind a huge white wall, so to speak. So we'll be looking back to how the ancients saw the landscape, how the ancients went into Avery, because you'll see if you come with us, Nan always likes to step in the footstep of the ancestors. You are not going to enter Avery like a tourist. You'll see the tourists go to the center. We're going to go to the clearing stone, have our energies cleared, and we're going to walk in the footstep of our ancestors on those beautiful Mary and Micheal earth currents and far more stronger energies besides. So it will be a wonder.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. And the lunar alignment is, I think you said the stone that aligns with it. There, that whole area or whatever the energy that gets activated there is just pure divine feminine.
Absolutely. I discovered that lunar alignment. Oh my goodness. I think that was in around 2005, a long time ago. And the when the moon rises in it, what's called its most northerly moonrise, the moon's most northerly moonrise, it's the moon set at Stonehenge, but it's the rise at Avery. The full moon will appear in the same place within 2 hours on the same day it did 18.61 years ago. This lunar alignment is rare, sacred, holy, because it only happens every 18.61 years. And I happened to be there the last time at Avery, so I know all about the energies. And it is really something very, very powerful. And we will be around these energy stones that anchor in that energy. Have a think back to what you were doing 18.61 years ago. Yeah. And if there's something that you'd like to let go of, if there's something that you may want again, you may want something from that time. I always think it's a good idea to be reflective and then bring in with the moon, and you'll see it very, very bright. And it will look quite glorious.
And we're going to be the whole time, we're going to be doing our sacred earth magic. So at the right moment, the clouds will part or whatever will be optimal for us. I'm already talking to the rain and the clouds because I used to live in England, so I understand. Maria was like, "Don't worry if there's rain. We've got everything figured out for any kind of weather." And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." So it would be nice to have a little rain here where I am, but I'm okay with that. So, well, fantastic. Thank you so much. And is there anything else you would like to share before we close? And I believe in about a week we will be back together to talk about Avery.
Yes, when we go to these ancient sites, we kind of reconnect not just with the earth energies, but with the ancestors as well and the guardian. And I'll show you at Glastonbury Abbey, the guardian zone, and how it's depicted in stone, the guardian at Avery. And it's a wonderful moment when we ask permission to work with the guardian energy. That will be a very beautiful experience. I still love it when I go to Avery each and every time. So I know that the people, like I know Nan is highly sensitive and an absolute gem. She did some amazing healing energy work with me. I think it was last week. She's a kind soul, a great guide as well. So together we're going to make this so special for the people that attend. I always put my heart and soul into what I do, and I know we're in good company with Nan.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. I'm so excited. So let us know. It's mariawheatley.co.uk.
Well, my websites are esotericcollege.com, and my other website is the averyexperience.co.uk. And if you forget all that, just go to mariawheatley.uk, and that's my landing page to take you to all of my sites anyway. But esotericcollege.com is quite easy to remember.
Right. Yes, that's true. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, sweetie. I love you so much. I'm so grateful, so happy that we met and that I found you. I always know when I start to explore, when I'm called somewhere and I go past the first line of, okay, here's what everybody says to do. And I keep looking deeper and find the perfect people, the perfect places. And you're definitely one of those gems. So thank you so much for coming with us, and thank you for sharing and for spending your time with us today.
Thank you.
Namaste. So Mark says, thank you, Magical Maria. Josie said, thank you. Very, very interesting. Lisa said, wow, this was so helpful. Definitely. Wonderful, you guys. Thank you all for being here. Make sure that you share this with anyone else. Of course, the replay will be ready right away, and we'll make sure that Maria's links are below. And if you're interested in coming with us, let me see here. I'll stick this right back up here. And when you go over here to this website, you will see more information about the day with Maria and everything else we're doing. All right. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. This is so interesting because you mentioned Aldebaran. And today is a very special, sacred, astronomical day. So today and tomorrow we are having a Stargate with Aldebaran, which is a royal star, which is a guardian. So it's very interesting, all of the words that you brought up. It's often called a silver gate or a silver energy gateway, which to me, the silver goddess ray, the 11th ray of the rays of creation, the 10th ray is that silver feminine ray. So everybody, blessings on this beautiful silver Stargate day, today and tomorrow. And I'll be sharing more in the spiritual weather report this week about that and the other energies happening. So thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Lots of love.